This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
We know the laws of a kohen. Isha zayna v'chalala lo yikachu, v'isha grusha me'isha lo yikachu. A kohen is not allowed to marry a divorcee, a woman who is divorced, no matter what. There are no exceptions, there are no stipulations. It's a blanket halacha. It's an unfortunate circumstance at times, but nevertheless, kach gazar haboire, a kohen cannot marry a grusha. And it's very interesting, we know the name Azulai was a name that kohanim had for many centuries. Why? Because Azulai actually stands for Isha Zaina V'chalala Loi Yikachu. There was quite an amazing story. There was a couple who were married for 15 years, wonderful couple. They had a very good relationship, but there was something that was always gnawing at the relationship, and that is, unfortunately, Lo Yaleinu, they did not have children. And after much deliberation and thought, and it was quite sad, but nevertheless, they agreed to divorce. And they figured perhaps the second time around they would both be blessed with children. They said their goodbyes. They gave the get. The man gave the get to the woman. The divorce was processed. And lo and behold, right after the get was given, the woman recognizes, she sees she's pregnant. Can't believe it. Normally it would have generated so much joy. No problem, they could remarry. But the unfortunate circumstance was this man was a kohen. And this woman who she was married to for 15 years and did not have children after the get was given, lo and behold, she's expecting. And this is such a tragedy, a heartbreak. They're married 15 years, nothing. They get divorced, all of a sudden she's pregnant. The husband doesn't know what to do. He's crying, he's weeping. What should he do? So he goes to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. And he pours out his heart to Reb Chaim Kanievsky. Please, please, so many years we're married and now finally my wife is pregnant and I can't even... Reb Chaim listens to him, he commiserates, he empathizes. Reb Chaim says, there's nothing I could do. The halacha is the halacha. You're a kohen, she's a grusha, can't remarry her. The only thing I could say, says Reb Chaim, is go to Rabbi Yashiv. He goes to Rabbi Yashiv, the Paisik Hadar, he pours out his heart. Rabbi Yashiv sympathizes, he empathizes. Says Rabbi Yashiv, what can we do? She's a grusha, you're a kohen. There's no eitzah. The only thing I could tell you, go to the Kaisel Maravi and daven. What can we do? The man realizes there's nothing he could do. Reb Chaim can't help him, Rabbi Yashiv can't help him. He goes to the Kaisel and he pours out his heart without restraint. 15 years of prayer, hope, 15 years of rejection, and now he gives the get, and now he can't live with her. Can't get around the Din Torah. He cries, he cries, he cries. He soaks the stones. He finishes davening. Someone taps him on the shoulder. Talmid Chacham, distinguished looking Talmid Chacham. He says, I'm sorry, I noticed you were davening. You were so heartfelt. Can I help you? Is there something? What can I do for you? The man tells the Talmid Chacham, this is not an ordinary circumstance. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to turn to. Talmid Chacham says, you have a father? He says, of course I have a father. I wasn't born out of nothing. He says, go to your father. Go to your father. Maybe he'll advise you what to do. He says, my father lives in America. He lives in a nursing home. He's not compos mentis. He hasn't spoken for months. We haven't communicated for months already. The Talmid Chacham turns to the Kohen. He says, in my opinion, you need to go to America, speak to your father. He says, I just told you, my father doesn't talk. You got to go to your father. And the Talmid Chacham disappears. And it's running through the guy's head. First he goes to Reb Chaim. Reb Chaim tells him, go to Rabbi Yashiv. He goes to Rabbi Yashiv. Rabbi Yashiv says, go to the Kaisel. He goes to the Kaisel. This guy taps him on the shoulder. He says he doesn't understand what's going on here, but the Rebbeinu Shalom somehow is sending him. The next thing he knows, he's on a plane. He's headed to America. He takes the cab. He's walking up the steps of the nursing home. He goes into his father's room. Hasn't seen his father in a number of years. He breaks out crying to his father. In his mind, this whole thing is a big mystery. He can't make heads or tails what's going on. He tells his father 15 years he's married, no children. Finally, he gives his wife a get. He's planning on starting his life anew. And lo and behold, she's pregnant. He says, Tata, what should I do? Father Father's in a different world. Father can't speak. He's not there. He starts breaking out crying, Father, Father, what should I do? All of a sudden the father picks up his head. He says, my son, you're wrong. You're not my biological son. After the Holocaust, me and your mother, who raised you, we couldn't have children. So we didn't know what to do. We adopted you, we never told you. Go back to Eretz Yisrael. You could remarry your wife. An amazing story. You see the koyach of tefillah, the koyach of amunas chachamim, but you also see something that is relevant to all of us. And that is, in life, there are disappointments and there are surprises. Very often in life, things don't go the way we would like them to go. And sometimes in life, surprises happen. We never would have expected something like this to happen. Why does the Rebbeinu Shalom make disappointments happen? Why does the Rebbeinu Shalom make surprises happen? Says the Chayvas Havavos. In the Shara Avodas Elikim Parak Ches, he says a very interesting thing. He says the Chayvas Havavos. Hare mitzad echad anu royim shel lefa'amim oile biyad ha'adam lifal kafi daita v'cheftzei. Very often in life, what we plan to happen, what we want to happen, it happens. Very often in life, we set out to do something, we want to accomplish it, and it happens. But says the Chavas Havavos, b'lefamim taitza'is pu'ulaisav. Sometimes the results hein hafuchais meretz Sinai are not like we want, the kavanasai, and not like we planned. Says the Chavas Havavos, there are two kinds of surprises in life. Some are called disappointments. In other words, we want A to happen, A does not happen, B happens, and we're upset about it. What we wanted to happen often does not happen, and sometimes we wanted A to happen, but we thought we would get it in a certain way. We were planning on A to happen through certain circumstances. And very often in life, what we want to happen happens, but not the way we thought it would happen, through a different avenue. These are two types of surprises in life. Disappointments, and what we want happens, but not the way we wanted it, not through the avenue we thought. Says the Chavetz Havavos, you know what this teaches you? Davar hamalamed as Isach. It teaches you ki yesh laboire yisbarach shlita ala adam, that God rules man, v'shaha adam kashor l'rtzana yisbarach, and that a person is connected to the will of Hashem. In other words, says the Chavetz Havavos, if everything in life went the way we planned, if every time we set out to do something, it happened as scheduled, then we would start to think that we could predict this world. We're in control. We have the system down. We understand how things work. Says the Chavetz Havavos, sometimes God frustrates our plans intentionally. He does not allow what we want to happen, so we recognize, hey, this is not our world. We don't run the world. We don't control the world. We can't even predict what will happen. And sometimes the Rebbeinu Shalom will allow what we want to happen, but not through the avenue that we wanted it, also, to show the same thing. That we thought we would get something through a specific way, says the Rebbeinu Shalom, I'll let you have what you want, but it'll be my way. And this all shows us a very, very important thing. That this is not our world. It's Kili Kala Aretz, says the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's the world of the Rebbeinu Shalom. He controls it. You can't predict anything in this world. Surprises happen. Disappointments happen. For us to recognize we're just guests over here. We're just visitors. God is the host, and we are subject to the Ratzon of the Barei Olam. Rabbi Sai, wishing you all a good Shabbos. Shkoyach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.